It's preparing to go live. Preparing to live stream your meeting.
Yay.
It works when you're done redirecting your meeting. So, okay, then I minimize it.
You actually can close it out.
Close it.
Yeah, just close it.
Okay. All righty. This meeting being got it. Okay. And Madam Vice President, we do have a quorum of the executive board, so we can start. Do you want me to show the agenda? Or do you want to?
Let's see.
Let me give you ability to share to host.
I can, okay.
Okay, co-host. Okay, you have hosting capabilities.
All righty. Welcome, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hi, Grace, are you back?
I am in, yes, thank you.
Uh-oh, can she hear?
She hears you. She heard you. She responded.
All right. Okay, I didn't see back in the US. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, so here is our agenda for the evening. Let's get to the agenda. I am now calling the meeting to order, and it is 7:03 p.m. I'm making myself notes. We have our general comments and the different reports, funding requests, committee reports, old business, and then we have adjournment. And you know, all of the things that we must go by, our telecommunication relay services and so on. All righty. Oh, there's one more page. Oh, and that's in Spanish. Okay. So let's get to the agenda. The meeting has been called to order. I will call the roll. We have Gregory Jackson present.
Present.
Is Paul King here?
He sent me a text a few minutes ago, so I anticipate that he will be
Is he coming late?
He didn't. I cannot confirm that.
Okay.
I know he contacted me asking me if we're meeting tonight.
All right. We have Sarah Long Henry. I saw her, myself, and Grace. All right. Are there any general public announcements? 1 minute per speaker. Teresa.
Thank you, Paula. I'd just like everybody to know that next Thursday at 6:30, prior to our UNNC governing board meeting, the Urban Forestry Division will be presenting the results of the UNNC tree canopy report, which details all the street trees in our footprint. And they will be conducting a demonstration of the Tree Keeper program, which details all the public right-of-way trees in the city of Los Angeles. There will be introductions by the Public Works Commissioner Mike Davis and the City Forest Officer Rachel Malarich. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's going to be before the next governing board meeting. What time?
At 6:30.
6:30. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other public comments?
Gavin, did you want to share a thought here, or did you have a specific line item that you're on the agenda for?
Oh, I'm here to let you know that I see on the agenda that you are still holding virtual. I'm just here to say when you're ready for any of your ad hoc meetings to meet at the South Seas House, we're ready for you.
That is so good to hear.
Yes, it is.
That is good to
Oh my
hear.
goodness.
Okay. That's good news. Okay, perfect.
Thank you. That's a wonderful
Should
public
should I call Monica about that or?
Yeah, I'm just standing in. She did the meeting last night and I'm just standing in. Is that the correct word? I'm just
Yeah.
zooming in
You're zooming in
uh,
on her behalf.
on her behalf. Yeah, to
Okay,
let you know that.
yeah.
And I
So,
see I see a really excellent agenda item coming in. So I'm so glad I'm on here.
okay, perfect. Thank you, Gavin. Okay,
Okay, I see Paul has joined us. Welcome, Paul. And we'll go back to the agenda. All right, so we've just done our public comments. Now we're to the secretary's report. Sarah?
Hi, everyone. I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, there you are.
Yep. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, hopefully, can you all see this?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Page up. Okay, maybe not. Where's the, sorry, this is not. It's just not, well, you see the beginnings, oh, there it goes. Okay, so September 20th. We had, I was actually not here, and so thankfully Paula took minutes, and they're here in this form. I just did a basic editing and formatting, nothing exciting. Oh, sorry. So we had some public comments, executive committee business, treasurer's report, president's report. Helen Kim had a funding request that then went on to the governing board. Laura spoke about standing rules. We talked about the wildlife specialist presentation that we ended up having before our governing board meeting at the beginning of October. Teresa debriefed on the anniversary program. We talked about the co-naming letter that has been finished now. Committee reports. Taste of Soul happened. Co-chair. Okay, and then it was adjourned. Any questions, comments, amendments?
All right, thank you, Sarah. Oh, yes, you said something, Greg?
I did not.
All right,
I have a small suggestion.
okay.
It's the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners. So it's with a C.
Where is
I think
that?
it's the last item. It says bonk, but it says with a K. It's with a C.
Ah,
Tiny thing.
tiny thing, but important. Thank you. Sarah, did you get that? All right,
I did. Thank you.
thank you. Paul, you're up. Treasurer's report.
One second, let me just go to our website, which I was just able to get into right before the meeting. Just a little preview of our expenses to date. We've spent just shy of $15,000, leaving a net available of just over 16,000. Most of that expense has been about little over 50% has been neighborhood purpose grants. About 35% has been related to outreach, and then about 13% for office items. We still haven't heard from the city about our rollover funds.
Huh,
That's
really ridiculous.
It's not really clear what's delaying the process. I don't know, Greg, if you've heard anything new.
Silence.
But that's that, and that's essentially the update. I think there are a couple other items that are still need to be expensed. Pending payments of 1,000 have not been approved yet, so we're getting to be just below the middle mark of our expenses for the year, and maybe that's about the right pace after all. And then any questions on that before I go to the next topic that I wanted to bring up.
Paul, do you want to share screen?
Not unless everyone wants to see what I'm viewing, which is fine for me to share. Just-
Okay.
I
If
need
you
to hear
so
from
choose.
our attendees
I
here.
want to know, what are our options to getting this rollover? I mean, we don't know what the holdup is. What are our options? Go ahead, Greg.
You have one option and one option only. That's the wait.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because we've asked, I think Paul, we've asked them like 2 or 3 times about this,
Mhm.
and they acknowledge that it hasn't happened yet. And they said they're still working on it, and they gave the impression that it should happen really soon. But no. So no.
Did UNNC submit a letter of special circumstances for the rollover?
No,
Like COVID,
no,
due to limited meetings or anything? Okay,
no. We're not in that situation where we need to do that.
can do that. Okay.
No, we don't need to do that.
We just want what's due us, but
Yeah.
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 Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's not, but the thing is, it's not like they're picking on us. It's whole city system. So it's,
Yeah, it's the entire neighborhood council system.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that it doesn't suddenly disappear
It might.
and they say, oh, rollover?
It might. But yeah, I mean, if someone's not paying a bill, it's like, why aren't you paying the bill? Why aren't you paying the bill? Oh, the money's gone. We had to use for something else. So anyway, I don't know that's going to happen, but right at this point, we should just be ready for whatever, whenever they. But we will keep inquiring. What's the status? Just to let them know it's on our mind. But
So does everyone see what I'm sharing or attempting
yes.
to share? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Paul.
You can see the pie charts.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, really nothing too exciting, I would say. So unless there are any questions, I did want to bring up something I'd like to have us introduce in the next governing or a board meeting, and that is related to the process for expensing. And I just want to raise it to the executive committee's attention. Just the experience with the city and getting approvals is sometimes, it's, as you know, Greg, it's cantankerous, a little difficult. There's a lot of detail they want. And one of the things I've noticed that has slowed up the approval is sometimes the invoices don't match the expense. Like we'll get approval, in our meetings for $100, but then the invoice that we get, and that's showing up on the credit card, will be 2 different amounts. Maybe the credit card is 100, but then the invoice doesn't match the credit card. And there's various reasons why this has happened, which, unless you want the detail, I'll give it to you, but suffice to say, the solution to this is going forward. I would like it where before we use our credit card, this is particularly with expenses that are online, because often, we're going online, we're ordering things, and then we're charging it. So this is generally where it's going to always apply. But before we use the credit card to pay for anything, the request would be that with an expense request and an approval, we would have sort of a preliminary or a draft invoice. And so, for example, if you go online and let's just say you're going to, Amazon and you're buying something, you can get a preliminary invoice or a draft of it for what it's going to be for the cost. So that would be a request to receive in advance before we use our credit card to charge the expense, because that way we have it completely matched. We know we have them both. And then after the fact, I won't be chasing down, you know, sometimes the card holder is different from the person who made the expense. So I just want to avoid having to track down people a month or 2 or 3 months later, trying to find invoices that match credit card expenses. That's it. So that'll be something I'll ask when we get around to creating the agenda for the governing board meeting.
All right, you can stop sharing.
Nope.
All right, thank you, Paul. And
Sarah
then we
has a-
have,
Sarah
oh
has a
yes,
hand.
Sarah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, just small point. I forgot to ask for a motion to approve the agenda and a second.
Oh,
So
you
should
sure
I-
did.
Sorry, and then we
Sure
can vote.
did.
Sorry.
Oh, and I'm sorry. That's my
It's all right.
job.
I totally, well, yeah, it's okay. We all forgot.
I'm telling you, my brain. So I move that the treasurer's report be accepted with the correction of bonk.
The secretary's report.
Secretaries.
Secretary, I'm sorry, treasurers. Secretary, see, I told you. Secretary's report with the correction to bonk, a revision of bonk.
Here. Aye, yes.
All right, we have a show of hands. It's just
Oh, did
1,
you
2,
motion
3,
in second? Motion second. Who-
5 of us.
Yes. Who made the motion and who seconded the motion?
Oh, you're here. That wasn't a second, Greg?
Yeah, let it be.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, it's gonna be one of those nights. Then now we have
Well, I have a-
Mr. President.
No, I have a, I don't know if Paul wants to discuss his proposal in executive or he wants me to call him and we talk about it before we bring it before the,
Governing
to
board.
prep to bring that before the entire governing board. Because there's some things that we need to, like, the details we need to work out in
Oh.
presenting that.
Well, I guess, so it sounds like you want to discuss it a little bit more?
Yeah, I want to discuss the details of what needs to be done for us to do what you're asking for. But we don't have to do it in this meeting. I can do it by just calling you. And then I can like be devil's advocate about what about this and what about this, and so you can prep for
Okay.
dealing with that. Okay, so I'll call you for that. Okay.
Thank you.
Okey-doke.
Sarah, was there something else or you need to lower your hand? Okay, hands down. All right, now.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Paul?
I'd like to
Paul is-
interrupt. I'm on my Zoom. I see that it says a recording is paused.
Yeah,
What?
we're not recording because we're live streaming.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, so it is being recorded, but it's being recorded for YouTube. So we're not double recording.
Okay.
And when we recorded it and then we had to load up to YouTube, that's like double the work. But since your president went back to remedial YouTube school,
I mean, I know we were working at getting to this point, so this is
yes, I went to remedial YouTube school.
All right. Well,
I
thank
wrote-
you, Paul, for noticing that. I see it now. I hadn't even paid any attention. Okay, now we ready
Yes, ma'am.
for the president's report?
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
All
so item number 1, it's listed as CIS requesting your Martinez, Gil Cedillo, Kevin De Leon immediate resign. That was submitted. In our meeting, we were discussing both of the motions, both of the CIS that were in front of the board, the city council. And we took our vote on that and we said that we wanted our CIS to apply to both. But upon further review, we discovered that only one was calling for resignation and one was simply a censure of them. So we submitted our CIS for the one that was calling for their resignation, and we didn't submit it for the one that was just a censure
Yes.
of them. But also on the one that was calling for their resignation, it did state that they were censored. Since I'm not saying that word right, but already. So that was what the action that we took on that. On the other items, these are larger items that we need to discuss, form focus groups, or have someone be the champion of. For example, the second thing that I have is that we were looking at the city charter and how to fill seats. So with that, we need to have individuals that are willing to review what is in the city charter, understand how it currently works, and then come before either as a ad hoc committee or as an individual back to the executive board and to the governing board for making their suggestions, because this is something that's larger than just our body. It is something that we would have to share with other neighborhood councils and with the city council and with CD10, because we're trying to change the city charter. And so that is a long-term big project, but I just wanted to highlight that because that was one of the issues that we had with Mark, that we had with Mark Willie Thomas, and that we will have with this. So if anyone is interested in researching and working and reading and providing the understanding of what the city charter says about that, please let me know. Okay. The next, and I can go through all of these and then we could talk about them in a group. The next one is that part of our discussion when we had our special meeting, we said we wanted to submit the letter for calling for the resignation, which we did. But then another issue is we wanted to draft another letter outlining the standards and expectations for city council members, because I believe that it is our core belief that if someone is going to serve in that capacity, they all take these ethics classes, but we should have some standards and expectations of the caliber of people. And basically, we want to highlight that that's our expectation. And if someone does not meet that expectation, we want them to be removed from office rather expeditiously. So that's another. So that's another letter that we need to work on and draft. And I mean, we could take what we've already written and expand on that, but say it should be the expectation of all of our council members. And then there was the issue of redistricting. We know that what we heard is that the state is going to look into what has happened with our redistricting and the process that they've gone through. So we need to keep our ears open to what news that comes out of that. I do want to say, as far as the redistricting, the results of it for our area turned out to be in our favor. But even though it was in our favor, we still want the process to be above board and ethical, and we don't want any of this, what do we call it, backdoor, back rooms, smoke filled backroom dealing for getting things done, even if it's in our favor. So that's having the mindset that the end does not justify the means, and we want it to be a fair process. Okay. So those are those areas, those 4 areas. Well, the first area we've already taken care of, but those other 3, looking at the city charter, drafting the letter for high expectations for our city council members. That one we could do rather fast and have that ready for people to look at. And the redistricting is like, we're kind of waiting on that to see what happens. But I would say that writing the letter for the high expectations should be something that we can take on now. I could draft based upon what we've already said, send that out for the executive board to review, and then we all can wordsmith that so that we can have it ready for our next governing board, because we don't really need to wait that long for that. But the other areas, the charter and the redistricting, the charter, someone needs to be their champion and read that. And the redistricting is more of us waiting to see what happens. That's my opinion on those three things. Any thoughts, additions, corrections, guidance on those three areas? No?
Yeah.
Okay. So the action item that would take is that I will draft the standards, well, our letter with calling for the high standards of our city officials. And
Hear,
then
hear.
we just want to keep listening for the other areas. The next item on my section is applicants for vacancy in Region 1. I don't have no response yet.
Oh, wow.
And then I wanted to have an update on the block clubs and the committees, and some of you have responded to that. The reason why I'm asking for that, are we doing a shared screen? Is that a shared screen?
Yeah, that's the agenda.
Yeah, you can take it down.
Okay.
The reason why I'm asking for that is that, one, all of us, in addition to being on the governing board, all of us should be serving on some committee. This is a committee in itself. But then also, if we have block clubs or neighborhood clubs, then we want to make sure that those are being supported by UNNC, and that we're getting word out to them. And I know some neighborhoods have a very active block club and some don't have one at all. But those that are in place, we want to support them and see how we can work with them. So I think, look at my version of it. I think that was it on my part. Yeah, Madam Vice President, that's my report. I don't have anything else.
It's a report, you're sticking to it.
That's my report.
I have a question, and that for the block clubs, you were saying what you were trying to get input from all of them to kind of see where they are. Is that what you were saying?
Yes, for everyone to, it was two columns. One column was, what committee are you on? And the second column was, do you have a block club in your neighborhood? And that way we could support the block clubs if they exist. And then all of us should be serving on a committee. It's not just a matter of coming to the general meeting, but everyone should be serving on a committee. And so we want to encourage people to become involved in the committees, because I believe we all have the same opinion, but the majority of our work is done at the committees. When we meet as an executive board and as a governing board, it's just to make decisions, but the real work is the committee work.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
You're welcome.
All right, so now, let's see, we are, I believe, at me. Yes, attendance and training. So let's look at that. Oh, boy.
Greg, are we withholding comments until the end?
No.
On what? On my report?
Yes.
No, yeah. You could share. Yes, please. Any comments on?
Oh, I'll be
Anything?
brief for the sake of time. First of all, I have to say, in the 15 years I've been involved in I've been here 22 years. I really, really admire what the UNNC has evolved into. And you guys have truly become the voice of the people in ways that I have just dreamed of it becoming that way. And we're here now. I read the letter that was sent out to City Council. And I was so emotional. I was so touched. You touched on all the right notes. As a gay man who adopted a Black son, I knew that they went after them just because they were gay and they were adopting. They thought that they were an easy target. And because the mayor and I adopted Black children from the same agency, and they didn't say anything about the mayor and his Black child. So I am just so glad that the letter was inclusive, that it hit all the people that were targeted. And I just felt so proud to be a part of our community, and that the UNNC has shown their sort of justice and what they can do. And if anything, to be a voice for the people. So I admire that. I was just really taken aback by it. I really feel you guys have just did a great job. And then the expectations, you're absolutely right, because it'll just happen again. And just the way that, real quick, if you don't vote yes on something on another councilman's bill, then they won't vote yes on you. So it's always 15 and unanimous, always. And so the fact that you're expecting integrity and that you state it, I think it's so important, because, for example, if you're a council person and you can't, you don't want to get your fellow councilmen mad at you, but you don't want to get your constituents mad at you. And if you're in between, what you do is abstention. You don't vote that day. So it looks like to your constituents, you're like, oh, all right, you didn't show up. But a no show is a yes vote in city council. So like you said, we have to seek out the city charter and say, what are the rules, so that we don't get manipulated into thinking that something's being done. And like you said, the sexist order, the president of city council can appoint somebody for a replacement depending on, and anything, it's their personal preference, but they don't get voting power. However, if enough people in the community say, oh, we think they should have voting power, then they take a vote at city council and they give them voting power. But we in the community were very, we didn't understand, where do these replacements come from? And from the Robert Rules of Order, I don't know if Grace Yu is still on here, but she was the second voter getter. And I was like, why wasn't the runner-up even considered in, an appointment? And these are kind of things that happen. And the reason is the city charter of LA is very thin. It's very flimsy to give them a lot of wiggle room. So I really admire the idea that you're going to have expectations, and, and say for the expectations should meet, the will of the people. Right. And that's all I'll say. But thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are doing great.
Thank you so very much. That's very encouraging to us. Thank you.
Oh, Madam Vice President, if I
yes.
May. I need to add to my report. There's a facility building. Let me see if I can find it right quick. A hearing on 1848 Gramercy Place. This is the apartment complex that we opposed. They're having another hearing on that on Thursday. I will send that link out to all of our members, or get it on our try to get it on our website also, so that if anyone can attend that Zoom meeting on Thursday. Let me see what time it is. It begins at 8:30 and it's agenda item number 7 on Thursday, but we want to get that out if anyone is able to attend to oppose that facility. We're all in favor of housing, but we're not in favor of this, and there's a lot of details about this housing project that we're opposed to.
All right, thank you, Greg.
Okay.
Uh,
Paul's has his hand up.
Gosh, nobody wants to talk about training.
No, Paul, well, no, we do.
Real quick, I mean, we will. I just wanted to do an addendum to Greg's portion of the meeting tonight, because I know there was an email, Greg, you sent out regarding the Mid-City rediscovery event. I can't remember the
Yes.
exact thing. And
Yes.
I couldn't make it. I was just curious if you knew of anyone who had, and if you had any
No.
information on the event.
No, I wasn't able to make it. But that project was someone came to us talking about their services, what they do for the community, education for our children, and we listened to what they shared, and we talked about several different things, but getting them involved with Rexon Park, and then where they could go, getting communication with the different schools, etc. But one of the outcomes was that they were looking for a place in Gramercy Apartments, which across the street or down the street, has space, and so now they're moving into that so that they can host training and education for our kids in our community. But I wasn't able to go because I was
Okay.
I was on a project.
Thanks for the update.
Okay.
Let's
Well,
talk about some training.
you know what? Since you guys have delayed, I'm going to talk about attendance first.
Oh,
And that's going to be very, very brief. We're doing well on attendance. We did have one person for our October governing board meeting, and I didn't reach out to her, Jasmine. She was absent. It was not excused, but she's been present for the other meetings. So our attendance is doing good. And our executive committee last month, Sarah had an excused absence, but we have all been present for every meeting since we began. So congratulations.
And Sarah's out eats too, so we don't want to hold this meeting too late.
Yeah, no, it was excused.
No, but tonight we don't want to hold this meeting too late because it's getting close to her bedtime. She's on.
All right, I like that.
Oh,
All right.
I'm home now, but yeah.
Oh
please.
man, Sarah.
It's all right. It is still 10:30 in my head though.
Okay.
So, oh gosh, our training report. Oh, wow. Okay, there it is. Thank you.
Can you slide it over to the right?
Oh, really? I needed to see it over to the left.
Can you make it bigger hit the box?
The box is hidden now.
Up top? Higher,
Yeah, I can't
right?
get to it because of the oh my
Higher,
goodness.
Higher. That's lower.
I can't get to it because of oh,
okay.
boy. I'm sorry.
No, you
all
just
right.
do
Well,
it-
this
do
is
it.
quick. We have two people that are late in their training. One is Raheem. He's got funding that expired October 1st. I've emailed today. I text. I have not heard back from him. So he will have to, let's see, I looked up our standing rules. He should be current immediately. And if he is not within 2 months, which, next week will be 1 month, then he will, we have the right to excuse him from the board. So it would just make no sense, as hard as he had worked, for something like that to happen over funding. So I'm going to be diligently reaching out to him. I don't know, has anybody heard from him? Is he well? Do we know what's going on? Because this is really, I don't think this is like
I think
him.
he's just working.
He missed the last governing board meeting And right before that, I had emailed him a question. He's usually really quick responding, and I
Yeah.
still haven't heard back. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
Okay.
he had some
I-
changes.
And let
I-
me just say, last Thursday, there was communications committee was supposed to have their meeting.
Uh-huh.
I missed it, and supposedly it's going to be this Thursday.
Oh,
So maybe if you want to catch him, it will be Thursday at 8 o'clock.
okay. Oh, boy.
Maybe.
Okay, well, I just, I
Uh,
want to see him get this done. Paul, was that you?
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, this is Gavin.
Oh, hi,
I have
Gavin.
I have a text from him. Again, I don't mean to be dramatic, but I was walking the dogs when I got the letter, and I just started crying. And I'm walking the dog, and I immediately text Raheem because I've known him from the community, and my next door neighbor, him, worked together at Universal Movie Studio, and so I texted him right away, and he said, "Dude, I have been so super busy." He says, "No, I was not part of the letter, but thank you. I'm glad to hear your comment." So that's
Thank you.
all I got
Gavin.
was that he was busy.
Okay, he's very busy. All right. Well, at least he's well. That was my one concern.
Yeah.
All right,
Exactly.
so he still, he still has time to get this done, but
Yeah.
I'm
His
going to
job
continue
changed.
to seek out to him. And then the other is Miss Lizzie, but she assures me Lizzie has started a teaching job at a high school. Yay! And so again, it's a busy schedule, and she's trying to, work it out. But she said of the ethic training she's done the first 2 sections, she just needs to complete the third, and hopes to have that done this week.
Yes, I am 67% completed on my
Okay.
so it will be done. And it's
Thank
very
you.
unlike of me, but I'm just swamped with work.
I know. It's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So
Work right now. So
let me tell you what I did, because I'm telling you, this training is a real bear. So I saw in 2023, we have a whole lot of us that have classes. And I'm trying to get a jump on this because I don't want to be chasing after people to see if they've completed their training. So this is the expirations for 2023. I prepared it a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to email it to everybody so that you can have it right there and you can get your training done. And if you, when you complete it, send me your certificates, and we don't have to go through this over and over again.
Just to be sure, if it has like the dots, that means that we don't have anything due in 2023. But it means that we are up to date past that date.
Yes,
Good.
you have up until that date to get it completed, whatever that date is in the screen. And so that concludes my training report. I also want to say, and this is just a little addendum, first I want to apologize. I didn't get the agenda to Greg in time, and that's why we're meeting 1 week later.
You have to tell
And
that.
so my apologies for that. But Greg and I were talking about, I said, I want to get a list of, like prepare like an executive handbook of our jobs, what our expectations are, what our due dates are. And I would like to ask our secretary, our treasurer, our signatory to do that. I'm working on mine, and then let's put it together and compile it and have this so that we're, all on the same page. This is what I'm supposed to do, and this is when it's due. That's my recommendation. And that concludes my report.
Ms. Paula, do you want to have that as a shared Google Doc for everyone to work on, or is everyone comfortable working on Google Docs?
What are you speaking of? For the executive,
handbook.
for our job
Yeah,
duties?
yeah. So like we can extract what's in the bylaws. We can extract what's in the administrative package, put all that in there, and then what you've written so that we can have that one document.
Okay, that sounds great.
If everybody's okay with editing Google Docs, okay.
All right, next we have funding,
Okay, who's up?
With-
Who's first?
and Helen Kim is here. Yeah, there she
Okay.
is. Hi.
Good evening. Good to see you all again.
Okay. Helen, which document would you like for me to share? The exhibit or the letter of support, or which one?
Maybe we can start with the exhibit just for people to get a sense. So I'm at
Okay.
Mid-Cities Prescott, right on Arlington and Adams. And one project we're doing or have in mind to do is a native garden, little small native garden on one part of our campus. I've met with Diana Sherwood, who is a school garden expert with native plants. She was previously at Theodore Payne, and now she's with the Resource Conservation of the Santa Monica Mountains. She made this preliminary plan for us for a native garden site. And she chose this site in particular because there's already, if you can look closely, if you see on the first top line, there's buffalo gourd growing there, and that's a native plant, and it's doing really well there. So she thought, okay, well, since this native plant is doing really well here, it's an indication that there are other native plants that will do well in this section too. So that's why we chose this place. And it would just be, a garden to have for the kids. We hope that it turns into a butterfly garden with all the flowers, and maybe sages and buckwheats that we hope to plant. And it hopefully will be a learning experience for them, since our school does have a science focus.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and we've gotten letters of support from Koreatown Youth and Community Center, which is a nonprofit in Koreatown. They've done a lot for the tree planting in the area. They will give away all the trees and plant them and maintain them for, I think, the first 2 years. We've also gotten a letter of support from Enrich LA, which is a garden nonprofit. They go to schools and maintain food gardens. So we do have an Enrich LA garden ranger at Mid-Cities Prescott. So they grow like the food garden stuff. We've also gotten a letter of support from Angelinos for Green Schools, which is an advocacy organization to rip up concrete and asphalt and all that stuff and put more plants in. And then our last letter of support is from Diana Sherwood at the Resource Conservation of the Santa Monica Mountains. So.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
So this funding request.
Yes, we
is-
didn't hear that.
so-
How much is it?
So, well, let's display it first. Bear with me. I make sure I have the correct document on display. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So Helen, you can speak to this as I go kind of like scroll through it.
Okay. Well, like I mentioned, our goals, we have multiple goals. One is to rewild the native ecosystem of native plants in the area, just because there's so many invasive plants. There's also an LAUSD goal to, greenify schools. So that's another goal that we have in mind. We also want a, science opportunity for the kids. And another more practical one is to reduce the soil erosion, because in that particular area, it's pretty bare. There's some weeds growing in there right now. But if you plant plants, then, it will reduce the amount of soil that's eroded from the site. Yeah, so for this, we would basically use parent volunteers from our parent teacher organization. Our plant manager on site, our LAUSD plant manager, is very supportive. She's helping us right now prep the area. We have been laying it down with a cardboard just to kill the existing weeds. She is in the process of getting mulch from LAUSD so that we could place it on top of the cardboard. What that does is kill the existing weeds and, enriches the soil at the same time when it deteriorates, to make it ready for planting in a couple months with the winter rains.
Okay.
That's when native plants get planted in the winter time. Yeah.
Okay. And so the dollar amount that you're asking for is a total of $1,084. And this
Yes.
is the breakdown of the different things that you will buy.
Right.
With
And we're
this.
not married to that at all. If, you guys don't, we're very flexible. So
Okay.
we also expect some cash contributions from some parents who are particularly interested in the native garden too.
Okay.
This is, hi, Helen Kim.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, I get to see you in person.
I know. I've only
It's like,
heard
oh my
you
God,
on
is that the Helen Kim? Thank you for all you do for that school. And, I say this over and over again. Your community is only as good as your schools. And I just love your dedication to the school. It's amazing.
I love the school, so I'm very happy to do it.
Okay, so do we have any questions on this request, funding request?
I have a
ahead.
question.
Yes.
Just real briefly on the boundary line, in the graphic you presented, where's Adams and Arlington in relation to those boundary lines? I was trying to determine that to see if it was something, this garden would be something we could see from the street when we're walking by.
Yeah, actually, unfortunately, this is tucked behind the campus. It's actually on, so if the front of the campus is on Adams, facing north, this is on the south side of the campus, on the west side. So it's really tucked in like the middle of campus. There's a road that goes between campus where the kids get dropped off and picked up, the pickup line. So it goes through the Arlington gate and it drives up and then it goes out the Adams gate. So it's not visible by the street.
Okay.
Fortunately. We have a lot of other, grassy plots that are along, right along Arlington, which are really nice. But I think that this was a more suitable location just because the one native plant that's already growing there, and also because it's already just dirt where, the other areas have grass. So it's a little bit more work and, we'd have to like take it all out and it's a lot more work. So, and it's also bigger in those areas. So this is kind of like our test plot we want to do first, see how it goes, see if we can maintain the volunteers with the parents that we have. And then if it goes well, then we're thinking, okay, we have this back hill on off Arlington that is huge. And then we can kind of proceed there in the future. But this was like the kind of small thing we wanted to start out with.
Thank you, Helen.
Yeah.
Does anyone, oh, go ahead, Gavin.
Oh, I just have to ask, I'm not questioning at all, but what about the maintenance?
Yeah, so I've talked about it with our plant manager, and she said, once the PTO takes over that area, the LAUSD staff will not be touching it because, sometimes they'll go into a garden, an existing garden, and, chop it all up. Like they just did that at Carthay, actually. There was all these native plants that are huge and, so tall, and they even had like caution tape around it and a sign saying do not touch, and they just like hacked it to like little nubs.
Oh,
No.
So, yeah, so they were
I
very
remember when they planted that, and I actually wrote to Michelle King, the superintendent of school, and said, what a great idea.
Yeah, it just happened. I heard that from the women I talked to from Angelina from Green Schools, and they just like nubs, like just nothing left.
That's why I had to ask the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, and our plant manager is very involved, very dedicated. She's actually made our campus just so beautiful as it is. She told me that she lost her husband and her son in a very short time period, like years ago. And then she was just tired of seeing dead things and just wanted, things that were alive and beautiful. So she put all her efforts into this campus.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we can entertain a motion or a counter offer, or are there any motions?
Well, before we make a motion, I do want to remind everyone again of our budget limitations for the year, and that our objective in terms of how we wanted to spend our neighborhood purpose grants, which is roughly like in the $3,000 range until we get around to rebudgeting, would be having smaller grants to be spread out, much more broadly. So, as we've done before with other requests before us, we have tended to chop the request at least in half, if not more, depending on the project. So, I think, I would suggest that we not go above 500 in any kind of a
Okay.
grant. That's my initial
Actually,
thought.
that was the motion I was going to make, that we approve $500 for this funding request. So
Second.
I've made the motion. Is it seconded?
Yeah, seconded.
All right. So then let's vote. All in favor, show of hands. Okay, okay, it passes. Thank you. Thank you, Helen.
Yeah.
Thanks,
it's good to
Helen.
see you again. Okay.
And so then next we have,
Wait a
thank
minute.
you, Helen,
But can you,
Cassandra Bailey.
could you remind her of the need to come to the governing board?
Oh,
I feel like I'm an
okay.
expert with this. I know the drill.
Yes, right.
the
And then,
drill.
yes, and we will let them know that we have already voted on the $500. Okay, thank you,
Okay.
Helen. So see you in just a little bit.
Yes.
Like next Thursday.
Yes. Good
And
night.
welcome, Cassandra.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me again. I don't know. I have a report, a PowerPoint to share, but if not, I'm fine.
I'll bring it up. I will
Okay.
bring it up. I'm playing search the Google Drive. This is the one. It says January 13th, 14th. Maybe this is PowerPoint.
Yes.
Okay. Slides, it's coming up. And that's it. And you can see? Can you see?
Let's see. I've got something covering it. Okay. Yes. All right. This is it. Okay. So we can go to the second slide.
Okay.
And that was it. Are you able to put it in presentation mode?
I need to make sure I know what I'm doing.
We can see this.
Oh, okay.
Evan, how are you?
Okay.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, wait,
first,
hold on. Let me see. I figured it out. See?
okay.
Oh,
All right.
look
So
at that.
in the essence of time, I have a very short presentation, but I've given you the key points. But first, I'd like to thank you for your support, because Ignited Light has increased its services to the South Los Angeles community from 260 in our initial year to nearly 1,500 this year in 2022. So we're looking forward to increasing those numbers by increasing our partnerships in the community, which we are doing thanks to the lift of the pandemic restrictions. Next slide. So we are continuing to have some of these same services. However, since we are able to have more people present due to the lift of the pandemic restrictions, we are inviting back service providers, as well as inviting new service providers. So we are going to continue to have the COVID testing and vaccinations, HIV/AIDS testing. We're bringing back legal services, which will be primarily immigration and landlord-tenant services. We're bringing mental health. In the past, we've had mental health for veterans as well as overall mental health. Included in that, we will have the Alzheimer's of Los Angeles present to answer questions or give quick tests of possibilities of someone who might have Alzheimer's or early onset dementia. We will also have a chiropractor there, as well as dental and vision services. Some of the key services that we're including for 2023 is smallpox vaccinations. And we're also having a housing symposium the day before, which is Friday, January 13th. And the title of that is From Rental to Homeownership. So what we're doing is we're talking about the impact of housing due to the COVID pandemic. And we will have representatives there who will talk about rental options that are available, as well as education on how to prepare a package to rent, as well as steps to becoming homeowners. And those people who will be there on Friday will also have representatives on site Saturday to assist people further in providing services to help them find housing. And one service that I did not mention is EDD. We will also have employment services on site. And included in employment services will also be LAPD, LAFD, and Los Angeles Personnel Department. And naturally, the biggest and most important would be the drive-through food giveaway. So as I mentioned, the location for both events on Friday, January 13th will be the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza Community Room, which is on the first level. And Saturday, January 14th will be the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza upper level parking lot. Next slide, please. So as I have been pulling together the budget, all of the prices are going up for everyone. So we are asking UNNC for $2,000 to assist with the purchase of food boxes from World Harvest Food Bank. And their price has increased from $30 per box to $40 per box. Our purchase goal is 300 boxes. And I did not include the full budget, but I did include the total because it's changing as I'm getting updates on price quotes. But currently, the projected budget is $43,152.03. So in terms of the funding resources that we have approached, and we do have some additional funders in the works, is United Neighborhood Council, EQUA, LIFT, Black, AHF, the Stentorians, and VSEDC, as well as individual donors. And we're also having a fundraiser. So with everyone, with the exception of the Stentorians, I have requested a higher request of funds because vendors and basically everything has gone up due to the pandemic. Our contribution portals are the same, so none of that has changed. Anyone who would like to donate individually can either go to either the A Day On website or Ignited Light's website, or they can text Ignited Light to 44321. And we, of course, also take checks. For those who would want to mail us a check, we also have the address here. Next slide, please. All right, so we do have our save the date postcards circulating. We're circulating that electronically, and we're also passing those out physically as well. And as we're collecting the logos for our service providers, we will have a flyer to generate in November. I'm available for questions.
Well, you finished right on time. So we have 5 minutes for presentation and 5 minutes for questions and answers. Any questions? No? Oh, Grace?
Yes, one question. How much were you able to raise last year?
For the boxes or overall?
Overall. Both.
Overall, if we include the in-kind as well as the funding, well, I won't include in-kind. We were able to raise $16,000 last year.
And last year, the total expense was around what?
About $38,000.
Oh, wow.
But the rest of it was in-kind. We were able to get a lot of in-kind support.
All right.
So how many boxes were you able to distribute last year?
Last year, we distributed 1,500 boxes.
And this year, we're trying to get how many? boxes?
3.
This year we are trying to get a total of 1,000 boxes. So we're also requesting boxes from the Los Angeles Food Bank as well.
But you're asking us to support for 300.
No, I'm asking for just support to contribute to the 300 boxes, not for the full 300 boxes. Because that 300 boxes at $40 is $12,000.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions? Anyone ready to make a
I have a question.
Yeah.
What
make a
all is in
motion.
the food box that
Well,
contributes?
yes, World Harvest Food Bank is very good at providing organic foods, and they have a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. They also have organic chickens, usually is what they will provide, and they'll have some produce as well, or such as other produce such as I'm sorry, cheese or other types of things like that. But they also have dried vegetables as well.
Okay, and then so a food box contributes to feeding. Is it like, do you put it into like meals, number of meals, or how do you look at it?
Right. So it feeds a family of 4 for a week is the size of the box.
Okay.
All right. Is someone ready to make a motion?
I mean,
Go ahead,
Greg,
Paul.
go ahead. No, I was going to make the motion to kind of stick with the amount that we approved in the last request, just because, we only have 3,000 of, budgeted for the neighborhood purpose grants. And I think we're at about 2,000 already for the year. And so we're rapidly getting to the point where we're not going to have any neighborhood purpose grant funds left. So my motion would be to approve a request for 500. Now, bearing that in mind, if we go with that amount to the governing board, can they go higher than that if they want to? No. Okay.
Oh, we approved. And if you said we've already done about 2,000, we did 500 in the last request, 500 for this request would put us right at 3,000. Grace, you were raising your hand.
I was gonna say, with 500, the number is harder to do. If we did 600, you can get a more even number, right?
Yeah.
Since the boxes are $40 each. So I was gonna say, can we take it up to 600? Because don't we have like 3,200 or something, 3,100? Or is it a flat 3,000? I can't remember the budget.
Well, we budgeted for 3,000. I mean, there is a rebudgeting process that will happen. And we know we have some rollover funds that I believe were originally going to be used for maybe the anniversary, which I believe were not used. So we know there is some wiggle room here. It just, we don't yet know what the wiggle room is until we get the rollover number from the city. But I mean, I'm comfortable if we all are supportive of bumping it up to 600.
So you want to amend your motion?
Yeah, I think Greg wanted to add.
Before we move. We also can work with our partners to say to World Harvest, hey buddy, give us some boxes and to support this project. So,
Well, they already are, I think.
Dr. Bailey, close your ears. So, I mean, they, where they might say, okay, UNNC has done things for them, so they might say, okay, well, we will support your part of this project. We can give you boxes. So I want to. I mean, we can go and do the motion for funding, but if I also want to say that I want to talk to the folks at World Harvest and ask them for the 40 or 50 or $2,000 worth of boxes. Can you do this for us? And
Now, Cassandra, you said your true goal was to distribute 1,000 boxes. And did you say that World Harvest is donating some, or did I misunderstand that?
We're also requesting boxes from the LA Food Bank.
Oh,
And
food
so-
bank.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's what I do. Okay.
So I want to use our relationship with them to say, can you do this? Help us help another. Can you as a partner help us help another partner do good work for the community? And that way,
This is where I stepped in last year and I saw
Yes,
how that
remember that?
went.
remember
Greg,
that?
I think we can help Ignited Light, but I don't think we should say that because it actually didn't work out the way you thought it would work out, Greg.
Oh, last
So,
time.
Yeah,
We
so
did?
why don't we go ahead and move forward
Wait a
with
minute.
the
How did
either
it work out?
500 or 600?
Why didn't it work out the way I thought it would? I thought it did. I thought it worked out beyond what I thought. No, I wanted to. Yeah, what I thought was going to happen, what I was proposing last year was that we were supporting the equivalent of the amount of money.
Right.
And then what the board decided was, so you're right, you are absolutely correct. What the board
So
decided was to do both.
So why don't we try to move forward with 600 like
Yes.
Paul was saying?
Yeah.
I'll
Let's
second
stick-
that.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna
Or,
stick with
or
the motion.
I'll amend my motion to 600 and then Grace
Okay.
will second that.
Grace is second, and I'm calling for the vote. All those in favor, raise your hands. Okay, motion passed. And any additional assistance that you would like to add, Greg, will just be off the record.
Okay, Cassandra, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, well, I thank you very much. And we're also we're looking for volunteers from the community. So if there's anyone who would like to volunteer, they can just go to the ADAYON.org and register to volunteer. And we are
Thank you.
providing lunch for volunteers. Oh, and what is the date that I should come back to meet with the board, the full
The
board?
first Thursday, I think it's November 3rd.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's gonna be like
Okay.
November 4th. It's the first Thursday, next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
the
you
first
so much.
Thursday of the
Thank
month.
you, Cassandra.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Good night.
Good night. All right, now we're up to committee reports. And first we have elections voting with Lizzie. Lizzie, are you still here? And
Yes.
Lizzie? Okay, so elections voting, let's talk about that. And then the very next thing is also you with outreach. So let's start with election and voting.
Yes, so on the elections, we just happened to have an email request from the liaison with the city clerk, and she has requested to Nima, I believe her name is Nima Pulliam. She has requested to present at the next governing board meeting. So we will have, I'm sure there were a couple of board members who are sort of unhappy with the way the elections process is going. So I'm sure she will be able to answer some questions. I know that the concern for most people, as it was last year, is that the county ballot drop-off boxes, last year there was only one available to us when we have at least two within our footprint. This year, they have decided to have none of them available.
Oh, boy.
But at the same time, there will be there will be a polling place as it was in years past. So it is evolving what they are deciding to do week by week. So hopefully she will have answers for us. I think it's a matter of staffing. Last year, we requested that both boxes be available. They did not do it. We had a request we have a preferred polling place. They decided that it would be a different one. There was not wiggle room for appeal. So hopefully coming at the governing board, we can ask all the questions to Ms. Pulliam and get some
Lizzie,
negotiation going.
Lizzie, do you want her on the agenda as government officials, or do you want her under your election committee report?
I think it would be better for her to have her under agencies.
Okay.
Because for the elections itself, I have another, maybe I'll give you a preview. I wanted to reach the communications committee. I have an idea because looking at the timeline, we have between now and probably mid-December to raise awareness about the UNNC before we start the campaign for candidates, recruiting candidates, informing them of the filing deadlines, inviting them to candidate forums and so forth. So between now and mid-December, I had this idea of creating a hashtag UNNC Act 20 and coming up with a series of 20 facts about UNNC, which would involve some historical facts, some trivia, some of our recent accomplishments, things about, like, let's say, oh, the governing board is comprised of 23 board members, things like that, could be fun. We could be talking about our demographics, numbers, and so forth. So every maybe 2 or 3 days, we issue one of the facts. At the very end of the sort of campaign, we would create a flyer with the 20 facts, which we could distribute to different places for display. It could be a poster or maybe just flyers. I have already talked to our 2 libraries, so they're always willing to partner with us for promotion of the UNNC. So that is one idea that I wanted to present to the communications committee, and hopefully they can help us with designing the flyers and just creating something. And also we need to start a campaign. So what kind of look do we want to give to the campaign? So that will be, those will be some of the conversations we want to have with communications committee and then relay it to the entire board.
All right, thank you, Lizzie.
Or on the elections.
Any other questions about elections? Okay, then Lizzie, would you talk to us about outreach, Taste of Soul summary, and gardening school summary?
Yes, so we had a very successful presence at the Taste of Soul event. We got some rain in the mix, but it was all good. So thank you to our volunteers, Greg, Corrine, Grace, Dennis, and Sarah Lacey, who came by, and we coordinated our shifts pretty well. We also received the visit from our neighborhood prosecutor, Tia Strozier, and Danielle Mero stopped by as well from City 10. So we had some photo ops with them. And then on the Garden School Foundation, I know that the rain created a problem, but I am not sure because I was not there. I know that Laura and Charlie Papp were volunteering at that event. So hopefully Laura can give us an update at the governing board meeting. So that is, and then we have this idea. It's not official, but on November 19th, I believe, we have the Great LA Walk. That is a yearly event. It's a very long, miles and miles of people walking from all parts of LA. So this year they are focusing on, well, part of the route is going to be West Adams. So they're going to be walking through Adams Boulevard. I think somewhere around Figueroa, all the way to where Adams merges with Washington. So we were thinking that maybe somewhere along the way, maybe, I don't know, maybe Adams and Arlington, we could have some sort of a station with a step and repeat. So people could take a picture with the UNNC, background. So that would be something fun. As if we get volunteers.
Paul has his hand up.
Yes, Paul.
Yes, Lizzie. So that sounds like a great idea, honestly. I hope I'm going to be in town when that event happens. I don't know yet, but it's right on the corner from around where I live, so it'll be really easy to get to.
I think that would be really fun to have people, taking photos. And I think Nuriel was also kind of sad that he hasn't been able to volunteer so far for any of the outreach events. So I kind of recruited him for that day because he said he would like to reserve dates on the calendar, ahead of time. So I told him, yeah, this might be it.
Okay. So I have an unrelated question, and it is related to outreach, and it probably should have been raised during my portion of the meeting tonight. And that's related to the outreach on the Jefferson Park website for the WIX payment or the support payment. Do you know who I should talk to about who made that payment? Was that Laura or maybe Grace? Was that you?
Laura.
Laura. Okay.
It was Laura with along with Kiao Tano, who is the webmaster. So I could have actually Kiao come to the governing board meeting and maybe just give a very, very quick update, show the website and show where the UNNC logo or notifications are posted within the website. But as far as the payment, it was a coordinated effort between Laura and Kiao.
Okay, I'll reach out to Laura, and I like the idea of showing at maybe the general meeting the website, just a really quick thing.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Lizzie. Next, we have public safety emergency planning. Do we have anyone to speak on that? Oh, Dennis. Dennis isn't here.
Well, that's because Dennis has a conflicting meeting, but as co-chair, I could share that things went well. Everyone was pleased, the fire department, CERT, and the Grayburn residents. And there were about 50 people who showed up on Saturday.
Oh, that was nice.
Nice turnout.
All right. Yay. All right. So then our next item is old business. Do we have any old business?
Actually, I have a quick question for Grace.
Actually, that sounds like my great granddaughter.
Grace.
Yes.
Was this related to the cool blocks?
No, it was not.
Okay. Is the cool blocks still happening or not?
Both Dennis and I are not having too much luck in pursuing this cool blocks. It's not jiving as well as we had hoped. So I'm waiting till the beginning of the next year to start.
Yes, I agree. It is a difficult thing to have a whole block organized and agreeing on everything that needs to be. I agree. So yes, thank you. I'm hopeful too for the next round, which is nice. Thank you.
And so much going on now. There's just seems like we're on overload.
True.
All right. So if there is no
comment.
Oh, go ahead, Gavin.
Going
just,
back
just,
to what I
just a few minutes, please.
Can you hear me? Oh, let me
Yes.
turn the picture. In terms of the block clubs, again, speaking to the breadth of scope of work for the UNNC, it's just been amazing. And for an example, it might have been 15, 16 years ago, but the block clubs, we have a block club, and then another one started one, and the UNNC said, oh, we don't want to get involved with that. They said, we can only recognize one block club or one organization per area. That was a made up thing. And so I guess one of the question I'm bringing up in terms of the block clubs in these areas, how do they get recognized by the UNNC? Is there any sort of protocols? Is anybody can open up one? What if you have a rogue one? How do you determine and recognize that they're an official block club?
Well, go ahead,
I would
Greg.
like to- Okay, so remember first the joke. First, if remember how you had like a little tree house and you say you all are members of my club because you come to my tree house.
Right, you got it, Greg.
Anybody can do that if they want to, but if you have an official block club, you have a charter, you have bylaws, you have all that. So that would I don't know, give credence to your block club being official because you went through the process of doing all that. Having said that, if a block or a group of neighbors wish to speak to UNNC or have an issue that they want us to be involved in, we will listen to all of them and hear all of them, what their concerns are.
Right.
And then again, you know, in the process of time, you discover what's valid and what's someone just complaining about something and not really
Right.
coming up with solutions. So, but the official answer is that if a block club is official, they would have a charter or bylaws or governing rules,
Right.
and officers,
Or a
and
board and regular
yes,
elections.
yeah, they would have that. So, and then we would give more weight to those organizations, but we, you know.
Right. Well, that's what was going on back then. There were organizations that were recognized and not recognized by UNNC.
Right.
And to that end, often, I mean, they're telling you 15 years, it was, oh, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. But this group is saying, oh, yes, we can do that. We can do that. So again, I'm very happy I was just told many, many times, no, that's not in our purview. But now, clearly through your agenda, it is in your purview. And I'm very grateful. So I just wanted to bring that up, that what makes a block club or a neighborhood association official, that they have a board, they have election, you know, 4 members, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer.
Right.
What makes them official so that UNNC can recognize them as the voice of the people?
Good. All right. So we're thinking the same. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, everyone, can
Before
you
we
believe
dismiss-
it? Yes, Greg. Oh, you're going to mess us up?
Yeah, I am. That's I do that so well. So any input for the agenda, please send it to me because I need to get that out. And then, so send any notes to me or anything you want to add to the agenda, and I will send the draft out to you probably by Saturday. And then, let's say Saturday.
Yeah.
And then we could approve it hopefully by Monday so that we can meet the 72 hours. Okay. So,
all right.
And if we can get it done before that, all the better. Okay, that's it. That's
All
it.
right. Sounds good.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
wow.
you.
It's 8:30 and I am
Thank you.
calling the meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Yay.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Take
Good
care,
night.
guys.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Gavin, for your input and for staying with us.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
thanks,
thanks,
you guys.
Gavin.
You guys are the best we've ever had. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Gavin.
Thank
Good
you.
Good
night,
night,
everyone.
everybody.
Good night.
Night.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Stop
love
it.
you.
I'm
Bye.
stopping.